Hey there, I'm Kevin Downey, and I run an agency called Kevin M. Downey, where we help companies with their talent acquisition efforts, especially in sales and business development roles. You can visit our website at kevinmdowney.com. Okay, today's topic, this is going to be interesting. We talked about this on a podcast recently. It was a really, really interesting conversation. Will we see a resurgence of commission-only sales reps in B2B, right? So we certainly back in the day, decades ago, that was a pretty common thing, right? And then over time, it became kind of really important to invest in the sales reps and, give them base salary and all that stuff, and at all levels, from enterprise all the way down to SMB. But the question is, are we in a position now where the circumstances are ripe for commission-only sales to make a resurgence? And we like I said, we talked about this on a podcast recently, and I think it's a fascinating topic, because from one side you can see the answer being no, because commission-only sales reps don't necessarily last. You have a lot of churn. They can do damage to your brand or reputation if not handled correctly. Not to mention you have the legal and compliance stuff in different states, and keeping them as independent contractors, and not, obviously there's certain things you can't do with people that are 1099, right? That you don't want to make an employee. But we do have clients that actually make their commission-only salespeople W-2. So that's an option. But, historically we'd say no in a modern setting, but we're starting to see things that I certainly believe we're now going to see a resurgence. And I think the formula is there for a resurgence of this, and let me explain why. So salespeople are, especially those that want to work remotely, they want to work from home and inside sales, they are having a very hard time finding jobs. And cost of living continues to increase in the United States. And so even when they can, a lot of them, unless they're really connected in a specific industry to enterprise and mid-market type companies, a lot of sales reps are having a challenge finding opportunities, especially high-paying opportunities, which they really need. Cost of living keeps increasing in the United States. They've got all these expenditures. They've got, kids to pay for, parents to pay for, all of this stuff. And that $40, $50, $60, $75,000 base comp is just not cutting it. And so their need to really ramp up the income capability and start their own business. We're seeing obviously a massive, massive increase in people starting their own businesses, either part-time or full-time, is there, right? They need to get into their own gig. They have to. They don't have a choice. They just have too much pressure on them to make more money. And they really want to work remotely and from home as much as they can. They don't want to be tied down to an office. They don't want to be having to travel face to face, and there's not as much need for that. And so there's a lot of them out there. And at the same time, there's this flood of startup companies and small businesses that need salespeople. They need help finding new customers, but they don't have the capital or aren't willing to take the risk in investing salaries into a sales team. Maybe they can handle one, but they can't handle a whole sales team. So this group of potential salespeople are looking to start their own business. And in a lot of cases, they want to do it, but they don't want to have to create all the headache of creating the products or services, the operational stuff that's involved, setting up a legal entity and credit card processing and invoicing and managing operations. They just want to sell, and they may not want to make really high income. And it's there, but they're not there in terms of resume or who they can go work for that has the money to invest 125, 150, 175,000 in them in a base salary like you see at bigger mid-market and enterprise companies. So what do? Well, the opportunity is there. We're seeing reps saying, hey, I'll come in and work on a commission-only basis if the end game is there, if the commission rate is there, if the sellability is there, and the margin is there. I'm going to take a client I'm going to use as an example here that's in the software space. The money is there if they can hold out from receiving a base salary for 3, 6, maybe even 12 months or so, There's some big money out there, and there's a lot of small businesses that need their help. So that demand on both sides is kind of creating this circumstance where I firmly believe we're going to see a resurgence. I think they're going to be remote. I think they're going to be working inside sales, right? So it's going to meet the criteria of what the job seeker wants. But the commission only part that SMB is looking for in a lot of cases is there, right? They really need it in a lot of cases. So I really do believe we're going to see a resurgence. It's going to go through some bumps. There's going to be some headaches for a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I think it's out there. Let me give you an example. We have a client who tried, who software space, I can't name them, of course, software space where they do licensed software that runs anywhere from a little under $10,000 a year for companies to upwards of $100,000, right? Their average ticket is, I think, about $25,000. So they have hired a few sales reps that they put on base plus commission. And those sales reps with their bases, it's enough to cover their raw, cost of living or close. The motivation isn't there for them to push nearly as hard as they should be. And so while they are doing their job, they're not doing it aggressively enough. And their movement and their growth has been very, very slow. Very slow. And this company can't afford to go out and find 15, 20 salespeople like that and wait for 12 to 18 months for them to ROI. So what they're doing, and they've started, is recruiting reps that are commission only in the United States that are going to make 50% commission on the licensing of on the software license. So the software license again runs a little under 10 grand to upwards of 100. Most of their sales are in the 15 to 35, 40,000 range. Their average is just under 25. So let's say that those sales reps are going to make a commission, an annual commission on that client's license of $12,000 a year. So how many clients do they have to go get to make 120,000? Only 10. Right? Can a rep that's hungry go out and find a client a month for this software company? Absolutely they can, right? Their competitors in the space have a similar setup, and they have reps that have, 50, even 100 clients in their book of business. There's a couple of reps in there, one competitor that are making over $1 million a year. It's out there. It's just a matter of marrying the companies with the salespeople that are the right fit. And again, the salespeople need to be people that are kind of looking to start their own business, but with all the headaches that come with starting their own business, right? Very similar to becoming a real estate agent maybe, or an insurance representative, right? Or agent, where kind of the groundwork or the baseline of what you're selling and the framework and the structure is all there, the billing, the tools, the software. You just got to go out and sell, but you're not getting any guaranteed income. You're working on a cut of the take, right? It's very similar opportunities out there for B2B companies, but it's got to be the right fit. It's got to be the right kind of business in what they sell. So enough margin there for sure. And it's got to be, and enough on the front end in terms of sales, right? Where it's a higher ticket kind of thing. And then you've got to go find those sales reps that want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't want to have to start their own business from scratch with the products or services and the legal entity and the credit card processing and accounting. They just want to sell. They want to go get paper and get paid for it. The demand is out there. You've heard it here. I am a firm believer that there's going to be, again, bumps in the road, but there's going to be some serious growth in commission-only sales in B2B in 2025 and beyond in the United States. Okay? If you need help, we can help you find that talent. KevinMDowney.com. Thanks for being here today. Best of luck in business, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.